Hello, my lovelies. This is a reading for Aquarius for the month of March 2019. So as I've tuned into your energies, I've been given a little vision. Now, some of you may not recall this story, this movie, but you could Google it. And it was called Goodbye, Mr. Chips. And it was set between the First and the Second World War. And Mr. Chips is a schoolmaster in a boys' school. So it's very old-fashioned way of doing things, where they wore gowns and mortarboards and such like. And the film is a reminiscence. So Mr. Chips, the goodbye bit is he's leaving, he's retiring, and he looks back over his life. So it's a retrospective. And as we are now in Mercury retrograde, this seems an apt vision for you. So when Mr. Chips first started at the school, he was quite young, and he had all these young boys, children to teach. And it shows his journey through his career, all the ups and the downs. And because it was between the wars, many of the students went off to war and never came back. So there's a great long list in the hall of names of all these lovely boys. So I asked, well, what is this vision about for Aquarius? And it is to show you how at times when we reminisce, when we look back over our lives and take a deep, good look at things, the ups and the downs, the goods and the bads, etc., what we glean from it. And the lovely thing about the movie is, towards the end of it, it showed how much these boys loved and appreciated Mr. Chips as a teacher. And part of him was unaware of how well respected he was, not just by the pupils, but his colleagues and his fellow teachers, and what he brought to them. So it was like a breath of fresh air for the way that he taught to these young minds, etc., because they were the future. They were what would take humanity forward after this awful war and help to restore things on the planet. So one of the reasons I'm saying this is, as of the 6th of March, there are 3 major energy shifts affecting us all. The first is a new moon in Pisces. Then there's Mercury retrograde in Pisces for the next 3 weeks. And the big E is the planet Uranus moving out of the sign of Aries, where it's been visiting for 7 years, into the sign of Taurus for the next 7 years. Now, Uranus rules your sign. Uranus rules the sign of Aquarius. So this is a huge major shift for you. As it's moving into Taurus, Taurians are going to be heartily affected by it. And as your ruling planet is moving into an earth sign, what you came here to do in this physical lifetime is to be highlighted. So there's an inner shift, an inner earthquake for some of you guys, and you may have been feeling it before the event. So maybe quite a huge upheaval in your lives, and where it wants to take you over this next 7 years. So those who are born Aquarians, you have come in to make changes on the planet. So they say we're moved out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. You may have heard the song. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Now, in astrology, all the signs move forward, but all the ages move backwards. So you might think Pisces into Aquarius. Oh, that seems the wrong way around. Well, that's the way it goes. It's called the precession of the equinoxes. So that, as I say, that all moves backwards. And each age is said to last approximately 2,000 years. So the age of Pisces lasted approximately 2,000 years, and it was a time of Christianity and religion. and the sign of Christianity is the fish. So moving out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, Aquarius is the water carrier, and this symbolizes spiritual knowledge rather than religion. So we're moving away from strict, rigid dogma and creed of religion into a spiritual connection with our divine selves, our divine aspect. And you are the heralds, you are the way showers, you are the light bearers. Now, if some of you are thinking, oh, that's a bit wonky thinking, you don't necessarily have to be out there on a soapbox and preaching to all and everybody. It can be a quiet revolution that you have, because Uranus is also about revolution, evolution, the future, groups of people, young people, and how we help them navigate through life. So with the analogy of Mr. Chips teaching these young people, they were the future, and they came in to change things after this awful upheaval of war and such like. Now, the last time that the planet Uranus was in the sign of Taurus was in 1935, so 84 years ago. Now, Uranus takes 84 years to go around the whole zodiac to make a circuit around the sun. So it spends about 7 years in each sign. So the previous visit it had in the sign of Taurus was the huge upheaval on the planet of Nazism coming to the fore. So it means that there's revolution, there's upheaval, there's a change of consciousness for everybody on the planet. It doesn't mean that that sort of thing is going to come up again, because 84 years on from that previous time, we've learned an awful lot, and we've gleaned an awful lot through technology, which Uranus also rules. So you may be finding that there's this earthquakes within you or upheavals within you, and because Aquarius is the sky god and it's moving into the sign of Taurus, the sky god can be seen as heaven, and Taurus is the earth, so it's bringing heaven to earth. So the Aquarians that I've come across in my lifetime, one of whom was my stepfather, he was the mad professor type. He was always saying, I can't find the glasses. Where are my glasses? I can't find them anywhere. And of course, they're always on top of his head. And he invented this, that, and the other, all sorts of things. So it's that ability to tap into the ethers and bring those ideas down and manifest them, bring them to earth to share with humanity. So we know that when Alexander Graham Bell came up with the idea of the telephone, so did another chap at the same time in America, Mr. Marconi, and various other things that have been invented and manifested on the planet. 2 or 3 people at exactly the same time in various different countries have got that idea plopped into their heads. So it's like they've tapped into that Uranian energy. So over these coming 7 years, you will have the ability to tap into whatever it is that needs to be brought to planet Earth, to be grounded, to be manifested, and to be shared. So for some of you, there's a mission, all right? There's a divine plan, there's a mission. And for some of you, it's going to be huge and outstanding, and accolades will be given. For others, it can be just, as I say, this small revolution or evolution in your family, in your community and such like. And because the planet that rules Aquarius is moving into Taurus, Taurus being Mother Earth. You may come up with innovations to help your community with regard to a community garden, for example, growing vegetables and tilling the soil, and young people, teaching young people about seeds and growing things, that sort of thing. So it has a huge umbrella of health, well-being, nourishment, nurturing, fertility. Taurus is ruled by the planet Venus. So it's beautifying things, beautifying our bodies, beautifying the earth, and working in such a way that you can tap into cosmic energies that will assist with the healing of the earth in whatever shape or form. So whether it's something to help with clearing the pollution in the sea, or helping the nourishment of the soil on the planet, all these sorts of things. So it can be either enormous change in your life or smaller, but it is still about pushing you, shoving you forward, making the necessary changes. And when we get a shove from the universe, it isn't a gentle, gentle little nudge. It really is quite a big shift and push for a lot of you. So you may find yourself coming up with some ideas and saying, well, what do I do with this? So it's been able to bring to you, attract to you the right people, the right groups, the right situation where you can put this all together, because it's like an architect. So Uranus is like the celestial architect. You come up with this amazing blueprint. However, you need the builder, you need the scaffolder, you need the cement mixer, you need the hod carrier, you need all of these different people to actually put this structure together. And that can manifest for you in these coming 7 years. Now, another thing that's occurring with in March on the 6th, we've got the new moon in Pisces, and also the planet Mercury turning retrograde. So some people moan and groan and say, oh, Mercury retrograde, it's dreadful, it's a terrible time to go through. However, I feel for all of us, this is a pretty good one, because it's going over old ideas, old plans, old blueprints, old structures, but seeing it with a clearer eye, seeing it in a different light, being able to say, oh, well, that wouldn't have worked that way, but how about we bring this in now, which will give it a totally fresh energy and an ability to put plans into action. During Mercury retrograde, it's about negotiating and planning, not signing on the dotted line, not necessarily making something physical. It's the planning, it's the detail, it's the going over things very, very carefully and fine detail. So that's on the one hand. On the other hand, in the story of Mr. Chips, and he was this, as I say, this lovely teacher in this boys' school, he came to marriage late, as they say. He seemed to be a bit cobwebby and a bit dusty and shabby. That's how he was seen by lots of his boys and his colleagues. And then he went off on a summer holiday, a walking holiday. I think it was Austria or somewhere like that. And he came across this lovely young lady, and boom, that was it. Love at first sight. And she came back to England and they married and they had a very long, happy life together. So for some of you, as I say, Aquarian energy is sometimes you spend so much time up there with your mind and your ideas, you don't see what's going on around you. It's not that you're ignoring it, it's just you're unaware of what's going on around you. And you can be completely absorbed in a task or a scheme or an idea or a book. But what's coming in for you because of this shift of the planet that rules you, something will or somebody will come into your life that can move your world. And because it's moving into Taurus, Uranus moving into Taurus, and Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus is the goddess of love. She's also the goddess of beauty and wealth, prosperity, luxury. So you may actually have somebody showing up in your life who unexpected. You might have been so absorbed in things, and then suddenly this person comes into your focus and you think, whoa, where did you come from? And actually they might have already been there, been around you for a little while, but you never saw them. You never focused on them. They just, it feels like out of the blue, but it isn't. So it's like the universe has been conspiring to bring you that part of your life that has been missing. Because you have this amazing energy, amazing minds to be able to focus on stuff and be innovative and inventive and help humanity and mankind with your brilliant ideas. And there was a lovely chap I met some years ago in Richmond, and he invented the wind-up radio. So it didn't need any batteries. And I believe he was an Aquarian, and he spent a lot of time in his workshop. And they say about when you get in the zone, when you're completely focused on the task, he would spend hours and hours and hours in his workshop tinkering away, fiddling with this thing. He said time just disappeared when he was in there. But he came up with this amazing little machine, which didn't cost very much, but many of them got distributed to countries like Africa and such, like where there was no electricity, there was no, they couldn't afford batteries. And so this wonderful radio, you could just wind it up. It's like the wind up torches. And so it had its own electrical system built into it, and they could hear music and programs, etc., etc. So yes, you have an ability to, as I say, manifest things, focus on things, and invent things. But the universe is saying, yes, you're very good at that, but actually you need some emotional support now. Actually, we're going to bring someone in for you to share this amazing adventure with. And it's not that they're coming in to just support you or serve you or, wash your clothes and the dishes, etc. There needs to be a reciprocal giving and taking of things. So because you are an air sign, and as I say, some of you can spend an awful lot of time up there, what's coming in is to ground you. So because Uranus is moving into Taurus, Taurus energy is grounding, it's earthing it, it's 4 feet firmly on the ground. So there may have been times in your life where you spend a lot of time, as I say, in the clouds, and people have to, hang on, come on down, food's here for you. So there's more of a balance coming in. There's a sense of being able to come up with ideas, but then sharing them with somebody who has a more grounded approach and or who has marketing abilities. Because sometimes inventors or creative people, they're crap at marketing. They don't know how to put it out there. But whoever it is you're drawing into your life will be able to say, right, I know exactly the right person to get in touch with. Don't worry about it. I'll sort all that out for you. So yes, a very, very exciting time. If some of you were feeling a little befuddled about what your purpose is, those things are coming in to be revealed to you. So in a way, none of us are going to escape this huge shift in consciousness. So your life purpose, if you were wondering about it, is going to show up. So a first little oracle card, an angel card of courage. And there's a little angel doing a beautiful swan dive, just taking that leap of faith. And you may have heard me say many times, the word courage is from the French, cœur, la cœur, which is the heart, and rage, which is passion, passion of the heart. So feeling really passionate about what you put your heart into. So whether it's an invention, whether it's a relationship, a dream, a vision, a goal, is putting your whole heart into it. Not half-hearted, wholehearted. And interestingly enough, the self-mastery card, tirelessness. So it's having that stamina and drive and focus to keep going. So I know when they talk about Edison and his light bulb, and he tried, was it 5,000 times to make a light bulb work? And some people said, oh, you failed 4,999 times. He said, no, I didn't. I didn't fail at all. That was just part of the process. And eventually he got there in the end, and he was tireless about it. He had this vision in his mind of what it was he wanted to produce. And he stayed with it. He stayed focused with it, and eventually manifested his dream. So from the blueprint. And it says, although the road may be long and hard, as a master, my heart is always filled with love for my task. See, wholehearted. My heart is filled with love for my task. My goal is just a little way around the next corner, over the next hill. I persevere. So it's having that courage, perseverance, tirelessness. But don't forget that there's that little bit of magic around too, you know, because you're not on your own. Yes, you might have plucked an idea from the ethers, but it comes with a whole staff of helpers, of guides, of guardians, of angels, of ascended masters, all of your soul tribe in the non-physical, who are saying, oh yeah, great, he got it, yes, he got it, or she got it. And then also what comes, the physical soul tribe. So as you start to develop this idea, the right physical people come into your life. Okay, one word of warning I'm hearing is, do not give your ideas away. Don't share them with anybody until your idea is completed and you know that it works. Because time and time again, people have shared their ideas with others and others have pinched them. And if you share anything like that with another person, it diminishes it, it dilutes it, and you might run out of the passion. The passion disappears because you've given it away to other people. So keep it to yourself. If you're keeping notes, or if they're handwritten or on a computer, then make sure that you put a lock on it in some shape or form. This might sound a bit cloak and dagger. Oh no, nobody's ever going to do that. Well, just be aware that if you've been given a task, and your soul has a mission on this planet to help humanity, then it needs to be safeguarded until such time as it's ready to be birthed. So even if people think that you're being tight-lipped or uncaring of their support, that's how they might view it. But really, it's very important that you, they say, keep it close to your heart. okay? Because you've put your whole heart into it. Keep it close to your heart until you're ready to birth it. So it's a bit like writing a book or writing a song. If you give the idea away to other people, you'll never complete it. The book won't be finished, the song won't be published, etc., etc. Now, another lovely card, we have an Ascended Master. And this one's come up a few times for various different signs and in my private readings. And this is fertility. And it's the god Pan. You can see him there. So he's from the pantheon of the Greek gods. And it is said that he was really unattractive, very, very ugly. And he fell in love with a lovely nymph called Syrinx, I think her name was. But she rejected his attentions because she said, you know, it was too ugly. And the other nymphs around her turned him into reeds. And when the wind blew across the reeds, and this beautiful music showed up. So we know of him as, you know, the panpipes. And he played this exquisitely beautiful music. So this is a time for you to push forward, not be afraid of what other people think. So if they make a judgment on if something about you is unattractive or they don't share your affections and such like, is to go ahead and use those talents and abilities that you've got to transform. So with the reeds, this can be seen in many different ways, that you have a music within you, have magic within you to produce a sound, a vibration, some music that will lift others to a much higher resonance and tranquility and serenity. So no matter how many people might try to make you wrong or put you down, and to make a judgment of you, is to just ignore that and say, I came for a reason and I know I have to complete this mission, and I'm bringing to me all of the assistance that I need, because it is a time of great fertility for you. So fertility is not just about making babies and that sort of thing, which if any of you want to do, that's lovely. But when we have a fertile time in our lives, it's about planting those seeds of ideas, nourishing them and allowing them to grow. So you wouldn't keep digging up the soil every day and say, oh, how are you doing? You know, are the little roots coming down? We leave it. And it has to actually grow in the dark for it to germinate. So you may be in the dark a little bit about your ideas for a while until they start to germinate, and keeping other people in the dark in a positive sense about your ideas until they start to germinate. And as you plant all these little seeds, and again with the new moon in Pisces, it's being able to walk away from them and leave them and focus on something else. And then after a little while, you suddenly start to see these little shoots appearing. And it could come in as messages from the universe and other people. And it is a confirmation for you, it's a sign for you, an omen for you that you're on the right track. If ever you need confirmation or assurance that you're doing the right thing, just ask the universe to show you. Give me a sign, give me a symbol. And it can come in the most extraordinary of ways. I had a nice message from YouTube yesterday, and it said, well done, Amanda, you've had 222 views. I thought, wow, that's amazing. That's an energy of the angels. And I'll read it to you. 222. Have faith. Everything's going to be all right. Don't worry about anything, as this situation is resolving itself beautifully for everyone involved. You can see that. There you are. So you see, even I get messages from the universe, just as confirmation. I'm on the right path. I'm doing the right thing. Everything's working out fine. And it is, because you lovely people are watching watching this and commenting and booking me for readings, etc. So I know I'm on the right path. So however you need confirmation that you're on the right path, doing the right thing, in the right relationship, in the right job, in the right career, ask the universe to show you. And you will see it in some shape or form, and you'll have that aha moment. Oh, there we are. Yep, I'm doing it right. Now, I've asked for an animal for you, and we've got the antelope. And again, that's come up quite a bit for some of the signs this month. So there we are. 37 is the number, which adds up to 10, which reduces to 1. So new beginnings, new moon in Pisces. And the antelope energy is all about what you give of yourself for mankind, because the antelope sacrificed itself for mankind and said, use me to clothe you, to feed you, for whatever your needs are. Use every portion of me, every piece of me. And so gave of its life and its body for the people. And yes, this is what Aquarians are very good at, but don't give all of yourself away without making sure that you're replenished. And if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling exhausted, then rest. Don't push yourself so much that you get so tired out, you fall asleep at your desk, and then you've lost track of what it is you're doing, or the idea gets a little bit faded. So with the little mini one, it says, time to respond. Take action. No procrastinating. Decide and do it now. So if this idea has been bubbling away on the back burner for a little while, whether it's a creative project, or you're thinking about asking someone out, having a relationship with someone, it says take action now. You may not get the response that you would like immediately, but decide and do it now. Time to respond, time to take action. And when we do that, then the universe joins in and says, oh, look, so-and-so's decided to do that. Right, we're going to help now. We've been waiting in the background. Right, come on, let's get this moving forward and see what we can do with it. What input behind the scenes that the universe can help you with. So we come to a close with a well-being card, Esther and Jerry Hicks well-being cards, and this has come up again. This is interesting. At least out of all the 12 readings I've been doing, these cards have come up more than twice. So there's a theme going on here with this month of March and all of these changes going on. So this one says, first I seek joy and all else follows. And there's a funny shaped horse running across the meadow there. So sometimes our energies get scattered because we're seeking too many things at once. We think, oh, I've got to have this, got to have that, got to have all those components for this to work. So what the universe is saying is, first, I seek joy, and all else follows. So when you are in that very high vibrational energy of joy, it's so high that all the other components are attracted to it like a magnet. That's all you have to do, is seek joy. And it isn't out there, it's in here. this feeling of right, I'm being shown the original movie Mary Poppins, where Mary Poppins takes the two little children to go and see the uncle, and when he laughs, he starts to float up to the ceiling, and Dick Van Dyke's there with him, and they're singing, "I love to laugh," and they start to float up, and everybody starts giggling. Mary Poppins is standing there initially a bit prim and proper, but eventually she joins in. So it's that sort of thing. So joy is not confined just to youngsters, okay? Even old birds like me and old boys and such like, you find that spontaneous joy, and it's so daft, and you have a giggle, and you do feel light and absolutely floaty. So bring that in, tap into that joyful energy, and then see what else comes in, So it says on the back, since your feeling of joy is your indication of your connection with your source, once you have achieved joy, you have achieved connection with your source. And under these circumstances, all that is good follows. So I feel that the message for you guys here is, going back to Goodbye Mr. Chips, is that in that story, he loved what he did. He was so joyful. His heart was so full of joy when he taught those young people. And they felt that. They felt that energy coming from him. And they responded in a like manner. So they loved him. They respected him. They felt joyful when he was around. And when he was due to retire, they gave him this great big surprise goodbye, and then he realised how much he had affected other people. And sometimes we don't know how we affect other people with our energies. So tap into that joy, my darlings. Go with this extraordinarily transformational shifting energies. Leave me a comment. I'd love to know how it's affecting you. We're all in the same boat. It's getting to all of us. But you've got a task. If you're not sure what it is, you can have a private reading with me, and I'll help you to link into what your life purpose is, and we'll get you ignited. We'll get those start buttons pushed, and then I just off you go. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I have indeed, my darlings, and I look forward to speaking to you again. So lots of love. Bye.